This is a book review of JSA The Golden Age. Now, this is a book by James Robinson and Paul Smith, obviously from DC. This book came out in 2018. There's been quite a few versions of this, so certainly you can find copies, numerous copies of this, and it's all in colour all the way through. And not so many pages because there's no page numbering. Why don't they include page numbering? Never understand that. Now, the original stories was 1993-ish. I didn't get the original comics, so I don't know about that. And that was Golden Age issue 1 to 4. So it's actually split all the way through 4 different books. And the first 3 are quite dark, very miserable, depressing in places, some uplifting moments, and some. But many of the characters that I love suddenly are found to be wanting or having problems. They're addicts, they're sort of falling apart. Starman, all of them, these characters. Now, this cover is very confusing because, of course, it features characters that weren't members of JSA. So you've got Johnny Quick, Liberty Bell, etc. Some characters who didn't exist at all, as far as I'm aware. Hourman, of course, was member, but you've got Sandman doesn't really feature at all. I can't remember old Wesley Dodds appearing in it at all. Jay Garrick, of course, is Flash, hardly other than a few cameos. You've got Atom there, looking more like I don't know, Martian. Well, I must admit, when I saw that, I thought it was Martian Manhunter, to be honest. So I'm going to go on to the actual book itself. And also this there, you've got Hawk Girl, doesn't appear in the book, so which is slightly unusual. Also, you've got Dr. Fate and things. So you've got some characters that, why include them in this little bit there? Most got Stargirl. Really? Anyway, just odd inclusion of that. But it's really, this I think sums it up actually. This page sums the whole story up because you've got this sort of, the flames there on that, just the JSA. The world has collapsed, their world is gone, they're no longer really wanted, which I think is quite sad because I don't think that was the case. And I better quickly, there's all the characters, obviously the credits there. Because I think the Golden Age, it was a pity that you obviously had Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, but all the other characters sort of faded away. And I'm always never sure that they really faded away because they were rubbish or anything, that people didn't want them. Sometimes decisions are made, they sort of just drift away, they get less and less appearances, and then people just they get forgotten. So I think in the hands of a good writer, a good artist, and a good promotion, The Flash, Green Lantern, all those characters are easily as good as Batman, Wonder Woman, any day. So, but anyway, that's what happened. Obviously, those comics disappeared, the characters faded, the war had ended, you had the atomic bomb, and you got this brilliant art, this brilliant colour. The colour's great because you've got the colour changing, and it's sort of, you can see it just slowly brighten up as it's going into this world. But the world isn't a happy place, and the first 3 books are quite miserable. You've got your characters that are really sort of hit rock bottom in many places. Starman, Hourman, all these characters. Martian Manhunter. No, not the Martian Manhunter. I love the Martian Manhunter. Manhunter. No Martian at all in this. But you've got some of the, like Flash, they've got married, they've got scoffed, they're not interested in it. Alan Scott, obviously Green Lantern, he's put the ring away. Though I must admit, I'm surprised that that he wasn't sort of like, hang on, you're supposed to be still a Green Lantern, saving the rest of the universe, but you're sort of like, put your ring in your pocket kind of thing and forgotten about it. And you've got other characters, Liberty Bell, Johnny Quick sort of comes across as, now Johnny Quick I liked Johnny Quick. I love those stories back in the day, he wasn't a member of JSA, nor was Robot Man. Robot Man was brilliant stories as well. But they really come across as very horrible characters in this. They really have not come very pleasant. Robot Man was one of the funniest characters, like Plastic Man, all those sort of characters. But you've got this guy just being there. I really love this bit. It's actually quite nice. You've got the character there's quite a few characters without their superpowers to show that they can still handle themselves, which is quite nice. And that is the thing that's, I think, all the way through this, even though many of them, of course, were just people with a sort of mask put on. Some obviously had some special powers, speed, etc. Obviously the pill for Hourman, But at the end of the day, some of them were really just like the Atom. For most of his career in the early days, was just a guy that wandered around and was reasonably strong, but no superpowers until he became super strong a lot later in the period. Weird, there's no Black Canary in this. I don't know why Black Canary is missing. Wonder Woman, Wonder Girl would have been able to put her in. Robin, there's no those characters sort of completely out of this. But you've got other characters. This guy, Daniel Dunbar, and he's a sort of the sort of like Superman character. Brilliant artwork, just beautiful. The colours you can see by the red and blue and white, obviously the patriotic colours, and there's absolute great stuff. So you've got the first three stories really building up, very, very dark. You can see the artwork, like I say, dark, 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 but it's still thoroughly enjoyable, thoroughly entertaining, interesting to read about what happened. And I love the bits where it says we're only human in certain characters. This is big, way too big for us. And you've got Green Lantern, and Alan Scott at one point turns around and says how he can use his powers. It's a responsibility, how he can do various things. He can destroy a city, and he just puts it in his pocket. That's sort of the ring, which is a bit of a careless thing. If there's a hole in the pocket, it falls out and someone else gets it. But anyway, it's I think it's just great. The colours just jump off the page. This is one thing that's definitely. I wonder if it would have worked as well. And there's some lovely scenes with this. Lovely photos they've got in these things. They're very dark all the way through. However, getting all the way through to the final one, this is basically Golden Age issue 4, where all the action really, really happens. Real dramatic. Suddenly goes going sort of like flat for quite a book. It's a lot of scenes, all the people getting very depressed. Oh, this is happening. And quite sad to see. But then it really just goes, boom. The action, everything explodes in the final quarter of the book. Obviously, Golden Age issue 4 that was in this. And the colouring, everything, it's a lot brighter, a lot more intense. And it's just fascinating to see what happens to all the various characters. You've got a little bit about the Senate hearings as well. Not much. This is the thing that on the back, it says about McCarthy era government. Well, there is that element in this book, and you do have like a little bit there. You've got Senate hearings kind of thing. But it's not particularly massive in the story. And you don't feel that that's all the way, personally, all the way through. But you've got lots of betrayals, lots of nastiness, lots of characters that are addicts, hit the bottom, lots of people, after their golden age. And it's a thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyable read. I did enjoy it, and comes to an absolutely superb, great conclusion. I thoroughly enjoyed all the book, but of course, issue 4, the last quarter of the book, really sort of ratchets it up, the action, and wow, really great story, and it ends on a really brilliant note. So I loved it. And not only that, it has a brilliant ending with having this, which is really good as well. A lovely afterword by Howard Chaykin that sort of gives his feelings about all that, talking about Mort Meskin, Carmen Infantino, Joe Kubert, all the brilliant artists, Alex Toth, etc., Gil Kane, and it's just brilliant. Of course, he talks about all the wonderful comics, and as he said in there, that he didn't think of them as the Golden Age. I never liked the word Golden Age. They're comics. Good comics are good comics, whether they were done in the 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Doesn't matter. Good comics doesn't. So I'm thoroughly enjoyed the 40s comics as well. Of course, the attitudes, the things that are in those comics, when you look at them, they were pretty. People obviously now would look and go, oh. But it's the same if you read novels. You can pick up great books that were written in the 18th century, 19th century, and the attitudes and things all the way through those were obviously of those times, and you can't, unless you want to, that's the way it was. World's changed, but it's fascinating to this sort of how they sort of their world sort of collapsed and changed, and it is quite a thing. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The Golden Age, JSA, absolutely, totally recommended.